Are you guys believing in the Hawks? Are you falling for it? Because I am, honestly. For a couple reasons. One, I look at the Eastern Conference and it seems like it is five teams: the Celtics, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Orlando Magic, and now the Atlanta Hawks. So it's not like there is a ton of comp, right? If the Clippers were in the East right now, they'd probably be the 5 seed as well. So it's nothing crazy, but you look at the Miami Heat or the Indiana Pacers, those are really the only two teams you would expect to be challenging the Hawks for a top 6 seed. And those teams look lost right now. So I would not be betting on that happening. And the other reason I kind of believe in this Hawks team is because even though they're winning right now, it's not looking like amazing basketball. And the reason why I say that as a positive is I think there's still a lot here to be untapped. It clearly looks like they're still trying to figure out the best way to utilize each other on the court, integrating Dyson Daniels and Ricochet into the fold. Trey Young is clearly trying to be more of a pass-first guy. We know Trey Young has always been one of the best passers in the NBA, but now he's actually being pass-first. I like it to a certain extent. Have you guys noticed maybe this has always been a Trey Young thing and I'm just noticing it more now because maybe it fits my agenda or whatever? Maybe it's like a confirmation bias, but have you guys noticed how Trey Young just keeps picking up his dribble? I really noticed it in the first half against the Lakers last night, and Trey Young ended up with 30 and 20, so who am I to say anything, but why not just keep your dribble alive, always be a threat out there? I don't know, it seems like him trying to figure out when to pass, when to shoot, but obviously it's working. But when we talk about this current win streak they're on, we have to acknowledge what happened. Bogdanovich came back and DeAndre Hunter came back. Now, to me, Bogey has been probably one of the more underrated players in the NBA the last 3 or 4 years or so. He's legitimately one of the best shooters in the NBA, can get his own bucket, is a decent passer. Like, a lot of teams should be calling the Hawks to try to see what it would take to get him, although I don't think the Hawks at this point would be that interested in moving on from him. But yeah, one of the most underrated players in the NBA. So I'm not surprised by the impact he might have. I am a little bit surprised by DeAndre Hunter, and you might be saying, why would you be surprised? He's shown he can do this, and yeah, he has. He's done it in spurts. He's shown to be a pretty good scorer. But I've never been this confident in him where every shot he takes, I think it's going in. I think it's going in. And he's always been a good shooter, right? But he's never really been a prolific shooter. Last year, that kind of changed, but this year, it's on a whole different level where he's taking nearly 8 threes per 36 compared to 5 for his career. So it is a different role. He is playing different. He's coming into the game and putting up shots. Now, do I think he's going to average 43% for the whole year from 3? Absolutely not. It'll probably drop to maybe 40. Like, it's kind of hard to go from 43 to like 38. You'd have to go through like a real slump at this point. So I'd guess he probably ends the year at around 40% from 3, but just having this player unlock so much more, especially when you already have a defensive infrastructure, which is not something you usually say about a Trey Young-led team, but this team is a good defensive team, something I got a lot of things wrong this year, but I was pretty confident the Hawks would be a decent defense. And I'm not even sure the numbers bear that out yet, but I'm pretty sure by the time we get to the end of the year, the Hawks will be a middle of the pack, if not better, defense. But watching what DeAndre Hunter and the offensive punch he's bringing off the bench is doing for this team right now reminds me of 2 Western Conference teams that have a similar, defensive infrastructure, a star point guard, and they need that extra scoring punch. And when they don't get it, they look very average or even bad at times, right? So the Hawks, before DeAndre Hunter started doing this, they look like an average, maybe below average team. The Golden State Warriors, where when Buddy Hield started out the year looking like Klay Thompson, like prime Klay Thompson, I should say, and maybe that's not even fair to Buddy Hield because Buddy Hield is legitimately one of the greatest shooters of all time. But when Buddy Hield was knocking everything down, this Warriors team looked very good. They had enough defense, and Steph Curry and Buddy Hield could hit enough threes to keep the offense afloat. Obviously, D'Anthony Melton went down as well, but if Buddy Hield was playing like he was at the beginning of the year, the Warriors would not be looking as bad as they are right now. The Los Angeles Clippers and Norman Powell, who maybe is a different level player here, but similar situation. They have a point guard that is kind of inefficient, which Trey Young has been inefficient. one of the greatest playmakers of all time, who maybe Trey Young is on that list as well. And they have a bunch of defensive pieces around them, and they need the scoring of Norman Powell, similar to the Hawks and DeAndre Hunter, where Norman Powell has played in 16 games this year. He scored 20 or more in 13 of those 16 games, and in those 13 games, the Clippers are 9-4 when Norman Powell scores 20 or more, because they don't have any other real offense. Now, where you might be more optimistic as a Hawks fan, you have Bogey, you have Ricochet, who's going to keep getting better, you have Dyson, who's going to keep getting better, you have Jalen Johnson, who's going to keep getting better, and the real thing is Trey Young is not going to be this bad shooting the ball all year. He's not. So what does this offense look like when Trey Young is actually making shots? That's why I feel like this team hasn't even really scratched the surface yet. Like I just said, all of these guys are going to be better players 2 months from now, in my opinion. Dyson Daniels, in his new offensive role where he has more responsibility, he's going to keep getting better. Jalen Johnson being able to play make more, being solidified as the actual second option, he's going to keep getting better. The reads are going to get easier. I just don't know how this team is not better a couple months from now. And again, looking at the rest of the East and the teams around them, I just don't see those teams giving us anything really to believe in. And as I'm recording this video, I just got the notification that Franz Wagner is out indefinitely with a torn right oblique. Isn't that the same injury that Paolo just had? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that the same injury? And the only reason I'm mentioning that in this video is because the Hawks or the Magic are one of the teams above the Hawks, so this gives even more reason to believe the Hawks are going to finish as a top 6 seed. And I'm happy for the Hawks. I'm happy for Trey Young, because I'm not even going to lie. A couple weeks ago, I was thinking, man, this is extremely disappointing. You know, they finally decided, you know what, we're going to give this young team to Trey Young, see what he can do. Seems like a team Trey Young should be able to lead, and he's actually doing that. He just needed a little bit more offensive help, which DeAndre Hunter was able to provide. And I know how dangerous and how risky it seems to be relying so heavily on DeAndre Hunter, but also that's something we never even talk about with Trey Young. We just say, oh, Trey Young's not leading his team or whatever. I don't say that, but people say that. The Hawks missed on 3. I'm going to say 3. Okongwu's fine. He's fine. What was he, like the 11th pick or something like that? I think something like that, so it's fine. But Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter were supposed to be the wings of the future to help Trey Young, and they haven't really panned out. So if DeAndre Hunter can finally provide what they need from him, the Hawks can be a pretty good team this year, in my opinion. And Trey Young has shown us time and time again that if it's a one-game scenario, which a lot of times a playoff scenario can come down to a one-game scenario where maybe the Hawks get extremely hot one game, and then maybe the next game the other team just misses all their shots, right? And then something fluky happens because it's the playoffs, right? And you need Trey Young to be better than the best players in the NBA for 2 games. He's one of the few people that actually can do it. Even a Giannis. Trey Young, obviously he's not better than Giannis, but if you're asking me, can Trey Young be the best player on the court in a game with Giannis on it? Yes, and that list of players is very, very small. Do I think he can be the best player for the overall series? No, that's why I'm saying you're going to have to, get extremely hot one game. They're going to have to go extremely cold. But can Trey Young outplay Giannis in 2 games in a 7-game series? He can. Can Trey Young be the best player in a Celtics series? He can. So Trey Young is a special player, and I'm glad he's getting his moment right now. People talk down on his name so much, and obviously we're still very early. They haven't really done anything, but it looks like they're going to be a decent team. And that's more than anybody could ask for from this version of the Hawks team that's still going to grow. And hopefully they see something this year that makes them want to go into the future with Trey Young, with this young core, and they can keep building on it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I got to go make a video on the Orlando Magic situation, because there's a player I've been wanting to send to Orlando for all summer. I spoke about it all summer. And now with no Paolo, no Franz, you probably want to stay afloat, and this guy could really help you stay afloat. So be on the watch out for that video. Probably going to be posted later on today as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. We are on the road to 6K. I would greatly appreciate it. Trying to post a video every day this month. I'm not sure if that's going to continue. We're posting 2 today, maybe even 3 today. Got to talk about the Draymond getting bench situation. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.